The Utah winter is right around the corner, and if you're wondering what you need to do to prepare to live here in the colder temperatures and with all of the snow that we're about to get, this is the exact video for you. We're going to be talking about what you need to wear, how you need to drive in the snow, and what you can expect with the winter inversion. These are all questions that I get all the time here on the channel. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Make sure to subscribe to it if you want to learn more about what it's like to work, eat, sleep, live, and play here along the Wasatch Front and in Salt Lake City specifically. And if you're thinking about making that move here, make sure to get in touch with me. I get calls from all across the world about people reaching out who want to live here in Salt Lake City or any of the surrounding areas. So that could be Park City, it could be Provo, Lehigh, Ogden, anywhere here along the Wasatch Front. So if you're making that move here, make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, or shoot me an email. My information's here on the screen. I absolutely love it when you guys reach out, and I've got your back when moving here to Utah. So with that being said, guys, let's jump right into the video. We're gonna be talking about what you need to know when it comes to living here in the winter. I've got my notes here on my phone, so I'm gonna be looking at this, but the first thing that you wanna talk about is clothes, right? What type of clothes are you going to be wearing when you're living here in Utah? Well, fortunately for us, our temperatures are generally in about the, high 20s to low 30s during the day. So if we get a sunny day, it's going to be in the low 30s. If it's a little bit overcast, we might be in the high 20s. So it's not excruciatingly cold like you get in the Midwest or up in the Northeast. So depending on where you're moving from, this may be a relief for you, or it might be something that you're really scared about experiencing. So what type of clothing are you going to wear during that time? You're really going to have to focus on wearing layers. Layers is the best way to do it, at least in my opinion. And a lot of people here, they're going to wear stuff such as beanies, they're going to wear hoodies. Some people will wear gloves, some people will wear boots, but for the most part, I mean, people kind of just wear their general clothes. They'll wear shoes, they're going to wear pants, they'll have like a jacket on, they might have a sweater, maybe a shirt underneath that, but it's really about layering up, because you're going to be going from, in most cases, you're going from, inside your house to inside your car to inside the office building or inside the grocery store, or wherever you're going, you're going to be inside a lot of the time. So you just need enough clothing to keep you warm during those transition periods, but not to overheat you as well. So you want to wear stuff that's easily that you can easily take off, and I think that's probably the most important thing when it comes to wearing different types of clothing here in Utah. The other thing I should mention, having visited other colder climates in the winter, is that here we don't wear a lot of big coats, unless you're like skiing or snowboarding or going on a winter hike or something like that. A lot of people here don't love wearing those big coats, and I think it's mainly because we don't get that wind chill and we don't have that excruciatingly cold weather that you get with when you're in a humid climate, right? So if you go to the Northeast, you go to Washington, D.C. or New York, it's humid there, and so when that cold comes through, it really bites into your skin, and so you want to wear a big heavy coat to kind of keep that out. Here, we're pretty relaxed. A lot of people just wear sweaters, sweatshirts, hoodies, stuff like that to kind of keep that cold weather out. They're easy to take on, easy to take off, and that's basically what you'll need to wear. The one thing I would recommend is if you're going to be spending time outside, whether it's just going to different events, going to grocery stores, going to restaurants, whatever, a good pair of boots is a must in my opinion, because it's nice to be able to just walk through the snow and not have to worry about getting your shoes wet or getting them dirty or anything like that, especially when we've got a storm that comes through and you get 6 inches, 12 inches, 18 inches of snow. You really don't want to be trudging through the snow in shoes in that case. You want to be wearing boots. They're just going to be more convenient, right? They're not the most comfortable thing, but they're ultimately the most convenient option. Talking a little bit more about the weather here, well, I think we generally see a storm about every 1 to 2 weeks. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. It just really depends. But during that time, like I said, temperatures will be in the low 30s if it's a sunny day, or the high 20s if it's a little bit overcast. And then during the night, it usually drops to the low 20s or maybe even into the teens overnight. So those are the types of temperatures that you can expect. I want to talk a little bit about the snow, right? How much snow are we going to get? Well, a lot of storms, we're only going to get a couple of inches in the valley. So unless you're in the mountains, that's a different story, right? But if you're down here in the valley, the amount of snow that you're going to get is generally a couple inches, unless you have a bigger storm roll through. Then it could be 6 inches, it could be 12, it could be 18. Anything over 18 is pretty rare, but it can happen. Fortunately for us, because snow is such a common thing here, we are very well prepared for it, and the Department of Transportation has a lot of snowplows that generally try to get out and plow the snow as quickly as possible. So when that snow comes down, they always start on the freeways first. They try to get the snow cleared off of the freeways, and then they'll move to the major roads, and then they kind of work their way down based on how much each road, how much traffic that road gets, right? So they're going to start on the busy roads, and then the less busy roads, then the less busy roads, and then finally they'll do the neighborhoods last. So that's kind of the progression of how they're going going to plow the snow. Generally, they get out right away, depending on how much snow there is and how quickly it's coming down. You're going to see that the roads are generally plowed within, a couple hours, maybe 12 hours, maybe 24 hours at most. In most cases, it's going to be like the next day, or it could be as little as 6 to 12 hours to get your neighborhood plowed. And then those main roads are going to see so much traffic that they'll have been plowed as well. So because of our temperatures, we don't get a ton of ice. Ice is definitely possible. We can get that, but luckily they throw down a lot of ice melt on the roads. So it's not great for your car, but at least it does help with the ice. So, running into ice is not a super common occurrence in the city anyway, but it's still something you have to look out for. So those roads get plowed and generally you're okay. I want to talk a little bit about the cars as well. What type of car do you need? Do you need a 4-wheel drive? Do you need SUV? Do you need snow tires? Do you need chains? What do you need to be able to drive in the snow or to drive on these wet roads? So for me personally, growing up here, because I got so used to driving in the snow from the very beginning, honestly, for the last 5 years, I've just driven a car that's been front-wheel drive. I haven't even had snow tires on it. Now, not the best thing, not something I'd recommend, especially if you're just moving here and you're not used to the snow. But that's probably not the best option for you. I'd definitely recommend at least snow tires. I probably should have gotten snow tires. I think everybody should have them. They're just designed to keep better traction on these wet and snowy roads. So definitely snow tires is a must. If you're going up the canyon, you are going to need either 4-wheel drive or you're going to need chains in order to be able to get up the canyons. They do monitor this. They'll generally have like cops at the bottom who are pulling people over just to make sure that they either do have chains on their tires or that they've got an SUV or car that has 4-wheel drive. So that is something that's going to be required. As far as just driving around town, it's not absolutely required, but it does help, right? If you can get a vehicle with 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, that's even better, and definitely recommend at least snow tires. You probably don't need chains around town unless you're going to be, driving in ditches or something. You don't really need chains, but definitely snow tires and all-wheel drive will be a big help for you, especially if you're just learning and getting used to driving in the snow overall. The next thing that I've got to talk about when it comes to winter is inversion. Inversion is always something that's a hot topic here in Salt Lake City and in Utah in general. So what do you need to know about the inversion? Is it something to worry about? I'm going to be making a video here in the next little bit of everything you need to know about the inversion. I'm going to try to show you the statistics, some pictures of what it looks like, and what you can do about it. So I'm going to show you a video about that later on. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for that video. But for what I want to talk about in this one is that the inversion, it really comes down to it generally is the worst in between storms. So what happens is you get this pressure that comes in over the valley, and because we sit in a valley, there's mountains on both sides, and so that pressure traps in the air in the valley and it's not able to escape. So when you've got cars, you've got animals, you've got all these things that produce emissions, they're basically putting off these gases, and because that pressure is up here, it's not able to escape out of the valley until a storm comes in over the mountains and kind of stirs up the air and pushes everything out. So that's why it's generally worst during the in between the storms. So that's the time you need to really look out for. The cool thing is that the iPhone actually has a cool new feature that will actually show you the air quality and give it a ranking. So if you got a newer iPhone, I'm sure that some of the Android phones can do this as well. I just have an iPhone, but they've got this really cool feature where they actually show you the air quality index and will give you a ranking as far as like where it's at. Is it in the green? Is it in the yellow? Is it in the red? And that's just a helpful quick guide, right? So when the inversion is really bad, those are the days you want to try to get up into the mountains to get out of it. Go up to Park City, go to Snowbird, go to Alta, Brighton, any of the ski resorts, maybe go up to Suncrest and just hang out up there if you can, or definitely stay inside where you've got the air filters on your furnace system that are able to filter out some of those bad gases or materials or particulates that are in the air, right? So that's kind of what I want to talk about as far as inversion. Make sure to stay tuned for that future video where I'm going to be talking about the inversion in depth. We're going to make a full video on that for everything you need to know when it comes to that. And so with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, give me a thumbs up here on the video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing about future videos, and make sure to reach out to me. I absolutely love it when you guys reach out. I am the Utah relocation expert. If you're thinking about making that move here and you need some help, make sure to call me, text me, or email me. I love it when you guys reach out, and I can't wait to hear from you. With that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.